Welcome to Rare Breed Brotherhood. Most men are easy to figure out. They follow a script: chase, compliment, prove themselves, and hope for validation. Women are used to this. It gives them control because they can predict what's coming next. But when they meet a Sigma, the whole dynamic shifts. You're not chasing. You're not desperate to impress. You're not playing the game they expect, and that throws them off. Instead of feeling in control, they feel uncertain. Instead of predicting your next move, they keep second-guessing. And that's when the weird behaviors start. Some will try to make you jealous, only to get frustrated when you don't react. Others will act indifferent at first, then keep circling back when they realize you're not giving them attention. Some might even warn their friends about you, claiming you must be hiding something, yet they're the ones who can't stop thinking about you. Why? Because mystery is addictive. Most men lay all their cards on the table. You don't even let them see which game you're playing, and that makes them curious, frustrated, and fascinated all at once. They don't always realize they're doing it. But when a woman meets a Sigma, her behavior shifts, whether she likes it or not. Number 1. They test you relentlessly, then get confused when you don't play along. Women test men. It's just what they do. Some do it consciously, while others don't even realize they're doing it. They push buttons, create little challenges, and watch closely to see how a man reacts. Will he fold? Will he try to impress her? Will he chase? Most men take the bait. If she teases him, he scrambles to prove he's interesting. If she plays hard to get, he doubles his effort to win her over. If she questions his confidence, he overcompensates, trying to prove he's the alpha. And just like that, she knows exactly what kind of man she's dealing with. But then she meets a Sigma. She throws out her usual tests, expecting some kind of reaction, and gets nothing. She tries to make him jealous. He doesn't flinch. She subtly challenges his confidence. He couldn't care less. She withdraws attention to see if he chases. He doesn't even notice. At first, she thinks he must not have picked up on what she's doing. So she ramps it up. The teasing becomes sharper, the challenges more obvious. She tries to provoke something: anger, insecurity, desire, anything that would tell her she has an effect on him. And when she still gets nothing, that's when the confusion sets in. Now she's stuck in a mental loop. Why isn't this working? Is he just that confident? Does he not care? Is he on to me? This is where most women start rethinking their entire approach. Because when a Sigma shrugs off their tests like their background noise, it forces them to realize this is a different kind of man. He doesn't operate on validation. He doesn't react out of insecurity. He doesn't play games because he sees straight through them. And that's the ultimate power move. Because when a woman realizes her usual tactics don't work, she has only two choices: walk away frustrated or step back and rethink everything she thought she knew about attraction. Number 2, they keep circling back to you, even after seeming indifferent. At first, she seems indifferent. Maybe she even acts dismissive, like she barely notices you. She's not throwing herself at you, not making any obvious moves. In fact, she might even seem uninterested. But then something strange happens. Weeks, maybe even months later, she reappears. A message pops up out of nowhere. She randomly crosses paths with you again. She starts interacting with your posts, liking your pictures, or suddenly showing interest in things she once ignored. Why? Because her mind never fully let you go. See, most men make their interest obvious from the start. They chase, they overextend, they try to impress. Women can categorize these men instantly, either as options or as background noise. There's no mystery, no unanswered questions. But with the Sigma male, it's different. You don't play the usual game. You don't overexpose yourself. You don't follow the script she expects, and that unsettles her. At first, she might convince herself you're just another guy, but something about you lingers. It's in the way you carry yourself, the way you don't seek validation, the way you seem genuinely unaffected by her presence, and that is what gets under her skin. She starts to wonder, did I misjudge him? Was I too quick to dismiss him? That thought eats at her. Women hate loose ends. They don't like the idea of missing something important, especially when it comes to men. So, rather than let you remain an unanswered question, she circles back. Not always with direct interest, but with curiosity. She wants to see if there was something she overlooked, something she should have paid more attention to. And the best part, you didn't have to do anything. You simply existed, moved forward, and let time do the work. Now, she's the one wondering, questioning, and subtly trying to put herself back in your orbit. And whether you let her in or not, that choice is yours. Number 3, they push boundaries to see if you'll react. Some women thrive on pushing buttons, not because they're cruel, but because they want to see what makes you tick. They test limits, cross lines, and stir up drama just to provoke some kind of reaction. With most men, it's easy. They'll get defensive, jealous, or irritated. They'll argue back, try to prove their worth, or attempt to regain control. And just like that, she knows exactly what kind of man she's dealing with. Predictable, emotional, easily swayed. But then she meets a Sigma. She tries the same tactics and gets nothing. She flirts with another guy in front of you, expecting a reaction. You don't even blink. She makes a cutting remark, hoping to test your ego. You shrug. She stirs up drama, expecting you to get involved. You stay miles away. This confuses her, and when women get confused, they double down. She pushes harder, hoping to find the limit. Maybe she tries to make you jealous in a more obvious way. Maybe she says something really out of line. Maybe she creates a situation where any normal man would snap. But you remain unmoved. And that's when frustration turns into fascination. Why aren't you reacting? Are you just that confident, that unbothered? Does nothing faze you? She expected to control your emotions, but now she's the one feeling out of control. And here's the secret. This isn't about you. It's about her. She wants to know where she stands, how much influence she has, whether she can get under your skin. But when a Sigma refuses to engage, she realizes she's the one being affected. At that point, she has two choices: either respect your emotional self-control or drive herself crazy trying to break it. Either way, you win. Number 4, they try to find your weakness and get frustrated when they can't. Women have a way of sizing men up quickly. They're wired to read emotions, spot insecurities, and figure out exactly what makes a man tick. They do it naturally, sometimes without even realizing it. A little teasing here, a subtle challenge there, and soon enough, most men reveal their weak spots. For some, it's their ego. Say the right thing, and they'll scramble to prove themselves. For others, it's jealousy. Flirt with another guy, and they'll lose their cool. And for most, it's seeking approval. A slight withdrawal of attention, and they'll do anything to win it back. Women are used to playing this game and winning until they meet a Sigma. At first, she does what she always does. She pokes, prods, and watches closely. She expects to find something, some hidden insecurity, some emotional trigger. But no matter how hard she tries, there's nothing to grab onto. You don't flinch when she teases you. You don't chase when she pulls away. You don't react when she tests your confidence. And that messes with her. See, most men give their power away without even realizing it. They reveal too much, react too easily, and allow themselves to be steered without resistance. But a Sigma? He stands firm. His emotions aren't up for manipulation. His mindset isn't influenced by outside forces. He doesn't need validation, so he's never desperate for it. This makes women deeply uncomfortable. Not because they want to hurt you, but because they're used to men being more predictable. They expect to have some level of influence, some way to control the dynamic. But with you, they have nothing. And that's when the frustration kicks in. Some will respect it. Others will keep trying, obsessed with cracking the code. But no matter what, they'll never truly figure you out. Because your strength isn't an act. It's just who you are. Number 5, they mimic your mysterious nature, but it's forced. Women are used to having the upper hand in social dynamics. They know that when they pull away, most men chase. When they act indifferent, most guys scramble for their attention. It's a game they've played countless times, and almost always win. But then, they meet a Sigma. A man who isn't chasing, a man who doesn't crave attention, a man who is effortlessly detached, and that throws them completely off. At first they assume you're just playing hard to get. Maybe you're trying to be mysterious on purpose. Maybe you're testing them, so they decide to mirror your energy. Suddenly, they start acting aloof. They take longer to reply to messages. They become too busy. They try to create distance, expecting you to crack first. But there's a problem. While you're naturally indifferent, they're faking it. You don't chase because you don't care to. They don't chase because they hope it will make you care. And that difference? It's everything. Because while you're genuinely focused on your life, your goals, and your peace of mind, they're still watching you, checking if you noticed, wondering if their strategy is working, getting frustrated when you don't react at all. And that's when they start slipping. They miss a beat. Their cool facade cracks. Their patience wears thin. Because unlike you, they aren't built for detachment. They crave validation, reassurance, and emotional engagement, whether they admit it or not. Eventually, one of two things happens. Either they break character and come back, confused about why their tactics failed. Or they walk away, frustrated that you never gave them the reaction they wanted. Either way, the game ends the same way it started. With you, calm, unbothered, and completely in control. Number 6. They try to label you because undefined men make them uncomfortable. Women are used to figuring men out quickly. They scan your behavior, listen to how you speak, watch how you interact, and within minutes, they've placed you in a category. The confident guy, the shy guy, the player, the nice guy. It's their way of understanding who you are and how they should respond to you. But when they meet a Sigma, their usual system breaks. You don't fit into any of their neat little boxes. You're not loud, but you're not exactly shy. You're not desperate for attention, but you're not cold either. You don't seek validation, but you're not insecure. So what are you? This uncertainty drives them crazy, so they start throwing out labels, hoping one will stick. Oh, you must just be antisocial. Nope, you just don't waste energy on meaningless interactions. You're probably just really shy. Wrong again. You speak when there's something worth saying. You're kind of arrogant, huh? Far from it. Confidence without the need for attention isn't arrogance. It's self-mastery. What's really happening is simple. You make them uncomfortable. Not in a bad way, but in a way that forces them to question what they think they know about men. Most guys wear their personalities on their sleeves. Easy to read, easy to predict. But you're like a locked book with no title. And for a lot of women, that's unsettling. Because if they can't label you, they don't know how to control the dynamic. If they can't predict you, they don't know how to influence you. And if they can't influence you, where does that leave them? Some will keep guessing, obsessed with solving the puzzle. Others will get frustrated and walk away. But the truth is, you were never meant to be figured out. You exist outside the labels, outside the categories. And for a woman who thrives on definition, that's both frustrating and deeply fascinating. Number 7. They get competitive around you, even when you're not competing. Most men compete for women's attention. They flex, they brag, they try to be the loudest in the room, all in hopes of standing out. Women are used to being the ones who get chased while sitting back and choosing who's worthy. But then they meet a Sigma, a man who isn't performing, a man who isn't chasing, a man who isn't trying to impress anyone. And suddenly the roles shift. Women start competing. Not because you asked them to, but because your indifference creates a void they instinctively try to fill. You don't fight for their attention. They start talking louder, laughing harder, trying to pull you in. You don't validate their looks. They adjust their posture, fix their hair, subtly try to capture your eye. You don't make them feel special. They start subtly competing with each other. Who's more interesting, who's more desirable, who can break through your cool detachment first. It's not even something they do on purpose. It's subconscious. Women are wired to seek high-value men, and when a man doesn't seek their approval, they assume he must be high value. And that's what drives them to compete. They don't just want a man, they want a man other women want. And when they see other women subtly gravitating toward you, it only amplifies their desire to stand out. Even the ones who swore they weren't interested suddenly find themselves playing the game. The funny part? You're not even playing. While they're outdoing each other, you're just existing, minding your business, observing the chaos without participating. And that's what keeps them coming back, because no matter how hard they try to win, to be the one who finally gets a reaction out of you. You remain the prize they can't quite claim. Number 8, they tell themselves you must be hiding something. Most men lay everything out on the table from the start. They talk too much, reveal too much, and desperately try to prove they're good guys. Women are used to this. It makes them feel in control because they can quickly assess a man and decide how to handle him. But when they meet a Sigma, the usual script doesn't work. You don't overshare. You don't seek validation. You don't rush to prove anything. And that makes them uneasy. Because if you're not actively trying to impress them, then what's your angle? They start telling themselves stories. He's too quiet. He must be hiding something. Why isn't he like other guys? There's got to be a catch. I don't trust it. No man is this unbothered. The irony? While they're warning their friends about you, they're the ones obsessing. They say you're suspicious, yet they can't stop asking questions about you. They claim you're too distant, yet they keep finding ways to be around you. They insist they don't like guys who play games, yet they treat you like the biggest mystery they've ever come across. It's not that you're hiding anything. It's that you refuse to perform. And when a woman can't read you like an open book, it forces her to keep turning the pages. Most guys try so hard to be understood. You let people misunderstand you, and that's what keeps you in their heads. Because nothing is more addictive than the unsolved puzzle. They'll warn their friends, act indifferent, maybe even convince themselves that they don't care about you. But deep down, they'll always wonder, what is he really thinking? And that single unanswered question, it's enough to keep them hooked. Number 9, they act like they don't like mysterious guys, yet keep asking about you. Women love to say one thing and do another, especially when it comes to men they can't quite figure out. They'll roll their eyes and say, "Ugh, I hate guys who are all mysterious and closed off." Yet the moment you step away, they're the first to whisper, "So, what's his deal?" This is what happens when a Sigma male enters the picture. You don't lay out your entire life story. You don't overshare. You're not out here fishing for validation or trying to impress anyone. And that bothers them. Why? Because most men give too much, too fast. They open up instantly, spill their emotions, and try to make a woman feel comfortable by being completely transparent. Women are used to having instant access to a man's mind, knowing what makes him tick. But when they meet a Sigma, that access is denied. So what do? They start asking around. Does he have a girlfriend? What does he do for fun? Is he always like this? They'll ask your friends, co-workers, even random people who barely know you, anyone who might give them a piece of the puzzle. Because whether they admit it or not, they need to know more. The irony? They'll still pretend they don't like men who are hard to read. They'll act as if they prefer guys who spill their guts, who are easy to predict, who lay all their cards on the table. But deep down, that's not what excites them. What excites them is the chase, the uncertainty, the fact that for once, they are the ones left guessing. And the best part? No matter how much they ask, no matter how many details they try to uncover, they'll never truly figure you out. Because a Sigma doesn't just withhold information. He moves through life in a way that keeps people forever wondering. And that's what keeps them coming back. Number 10. They accidentally show up where you are. Most men make their intentions obvious. If they like a woman, they'll chase, text first, and find reasons to be around her. But when a woman realizes you're a Sigma, she quickly learns that you won't be chasing. So what does she do? She places herself directly in your path. At first, you might not notice. You're at the gym, locked into your workout, and suddenly, there she is, using the machine next to you, stretching in your line of sight. Maybe you're at your usual coffee spot, minding your business, and she just happens to show up, acting surprised to see you. Oh, wow, you come here too? No, it's not fate. It's not a coincidence. It's calculated. See, women are used to being pursued. When that doesn't happen, they get curious. They need to understand why you're different. Why aren't you orbiting around them like every other guy? Why aren't you trying to impress them? The answer to these questions matters to them, because women like to know where they stand. So, when they can't read you, they create opportunities to observe you. They want to see how you move, how you react, if you even acknowledge their presence. They want to know if they can break through that impenetrable aura you carry. And here's the funny part. They'll never admit they're doing this on purpose. They'll act like they just happen to be in the same places, even if the pattern becomes undeniable. It's an ego thing. Admitting they're positioning themselves near you would mean admitting you're the one in control. So what do you do when this happens? Nothing. Keep doing what you always do, existing in your own world, unbothered, unfazed. If she wants to linger in your space, that's her choice. But make no mistake, if she's suddenly showing up everywhere you are, it's because you've already invaded her mind. Number 11. They come back after ghosting, just to see if you'll let them. There's a certain type of woman who thrives on control, especially when it comes to men. She's used to being the one who dictates the pace, who decides when the conversation starts and when it stops. And when she first meets a Sigma male, she assumes he's just like the rest. A man who will wait, wonder, and worry if she suddenly disappears. So she ghosts. Not because she's truly lost interest, but because she's testing you. Will you chase? Will you double text? Will you sit there wondering what went wrong? Most men do. They panic, they reach out, they try to fix things. But a Sigma, he doesn't even flinch. He sees the silence and matches it. He moves on without a second thought. And that's when it happens. She comes back. Not with an apology, not with an explanation, just back. A casual, hey, like nothing ever happened. She'll act like she didn't disappear, like the gap in communication didn't exist. But make no mistake, this isn't a simple reconnection. It's a probe. She's checking to see if you still hold your power. Will you welcome her back like a lost treasure? Will you question why she left? Or will you do what truly terrifies her? Continue acting like she never had control over you in the first place. This is where most men fail. They see her return as a second chance. They think, maybe she was just busy, maybe she had doubts, but now she's sure. No, she's back because your lack of reaction bothered her. She's back because she needs to confirm whether she ever had influence over you. And here's the kicker. If she realizes she didn't, that you're still the same calm, unaffected, unshaken man she left behind, it rattles her to the core. That's when she understands you're not just different, you're untouchable. Final words. At the end of the day, women are used to men who are predictable, men who chase, seek approval, and wear their emotions on their sleeves. But when they come across a Sigma, everything shifts. Your silence speaks louder than their words. Your indifference makes them question their own moves. Your refusal to play the game becomes the game itself. They'll test you, push boundaries, and even convince themselves you must have a hidden agenda. Some will try to make you jealous, while others will accidentally show up in your spaces just to figure you out. But no matter what they do, one thing remains the same. You don't react the way they expect. And that drives them crazy. It's not about manipulation or power plays. It's about the simple fact that you move differently. You're not controlled by ego, external validation, or emotional games. You live on your own terms, and you don't bend just to fit someone else's expectations. That's why they can't ignore you, because in a world full of men trying to impress, you stand out simply by not trying at all. Thank you for watching. God bless you.